Hello and welcome to Fully Charged. My name's Robert Llewellyn. This is a series about the future of energy and transport, electric cars, all kinds of cool stuff like this. And today I've just come along to see this normal town, just another town in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. And I don't know, it's very nice. It's very quiet, as you can tell. Not a lot of traffic. In fact, none. In fact, it's amazing. This is the sustainable city.
First of all, thank you for coming. I mean, this is it's a delight to show you all of this. So this is the sustainable city, and we regard it as our goal is to have a net zero energy development. So everything you see, first of all, the principal design elements is to reduce the energy intensity of the city. And so if you notice as we drive through those streets, the orientation of the villas, these villas, they benefit from the shade. We decided to design and to orient all the villas towards the north. So all these villas are north orienting, which means they get a lot of shade and we avoid the sun. Right. And that is so important in this part of the world because otherwise your air conditioning cost is going to go up through the roof, and that's not good for carbon and carbon emissions. Yeah. We also have UV reflective paint, which means you deflect a lot of sunlight and you reduce the thermal heat gain. Right. The windows also have tremendous thermal values, and the roof as well.
It's such an attractive place to live. I mean, we're now going past these beautiful ponds.
Yeah, these are the water features. Right. This is actually grey water, and this comes out of our wash basin. This is water from the showers, right, and the washing machine, and we actually treat it. We separate the water which enters the city into two streams. So we have black water and grey water. Right. So what you just saw is the grey water that is treated, and we treat it here in-site or on-site in the community. And you will see that in a bit. And then we pump it up through that stream, and we have these storage ponds. And all along this farm, we're now driving through the farm, which runs the length of the city. Yeah. We tap into the grey water system to irrigate the landscape. And we also use the grey water to keep these pads, if you can see those streaks, right, those streak marks, those pads, we keep them moist with treated grey water, and those are pads that we utilize to cool the biodomes. Right. So they actually provide fresh air into the biodomes, and we're going to enter one of those and see what's inside. Wow.
And then this is the thing that I first saw when I arrived, is that all the car park space is shaded with solar panels, which is so sensible. Yeah,
well, 2 points. First of all the cars are assembled. So we wanted to keep the cars away from the clusters, which means when we drove through a cluster, it is completely car-free. Right. That's amazing for kids.
I've seen lots of kids playing around. Yeah.
This is their space. The entire cluster is their space. So we have all the cars in one location and under a roof panel. And so we have in the city, we actually have 10 megawatt peak installed. Let me put that into perspective. Wow. That's 40,000 panels, right, PV panels. So far we've installed 26,000. And of those 10 megawatt, 3 megawatt come from the parking areas. Wow. So that's a lot of electricity. Yes. So we can produce 10 megawatt hour of electrical energy, solar energy per day. Wow. And this feeds into the grid. Yeah. This feeds into the grid because we are grid connected. And then we tap from the grid, we take it back to supply energy in different sections of the city. Right. All the services, the cooling pads, the farm, the street lights, the water features, all of that is actually utilizing electricity from the car parks. Right, yeah. So there is one community pool, and this has always been a contentious point about sustainability, but we've designed in such a way, first of all, this is a closed system, so the water is filtered, and we just top it up, replenish it because of evaporation during the summer, and we have a very environmentally friendly treatment system as well installed.
But it's also clearly very popular. There's always
a lot of kids in it. Yeah. I mean, living in Dubai without a pool, at least one pool is a bit difficult. It's become expected.
Because it's such beautiful weather here today when we're in January. So I have been in this area before in the midsummer, and I know that it is extremely hot.
So it can get, exactly. So now the weather is beautiful. We're at 25 degrees Celsius. If you come back in 4 months, it's going to be 45. Yes. So then the story is different. Yeah. So the water that you see here, this water is streaming down. This is grey water, treated, and we have a little bit of slope. So we utilize the slope to have that movement of
and water. Is it cleaned as it's?
So it's treated. It is, first of all, it is treated, and then we improve the treatment. If you notice these these grass.
Yeah.
This is papyrus.
Right.
That's what they had in Egypt, right, to make paper, for example. And those are called biofilters. So we planted those, and they're actually soaked
Right.
down in the water, and they biofilter the water as
Right.
well, because there's a lot of nutrient uptake.
Yeah.
So they improve the water quality even more. The trees that you see now, the landscape here is only 2 years old. So what you see is only 2 years old. So we've tried to balance between the amenity and the utility value of a landscape. We don't just want beautiful trees and landscapes and shrubs. We also want to have trees that are going to bring something back to us. So the date palms, these we pollinate in the spring, and then we're going to harvest. We harvest the dates in August. And then the trees scattered along the farm, we have avocado, papaya, pomegranates, mulberry, fig trees. So those are spread, and they will benefit from the shade of the palm trees. And all of that is actually irrigated with treated sewage effluent. So these pipes that you're going to see everywhere,
Right.
this is actually treated sewage effluent.
Right. Wow.
And so right here on our left now, what you're going to see on the buggies, is the grey water treatment plant. So it's underground, and it's just next to the villas, so
Yeah.
people are not offended by it. No odors whatsoever. That's the water that we treat.
Lovely plants. I can't smell anything else. Yeah.
That's the water that we treat, and then we store it in the lake, and then we pump it up, and then it trickles down again, and we tap from the lake for irrigation purposes.
Right.
We have recycling stations spread
Everywhere,
throughout
yeah.
the city. So we have a ratio. We actually have 9 of these for every 90 villas. So this is the farming that we try to have for the cooler climate. So
Right.
for about 6 months of the year, we can grow food outside. And this is actually managed by the community, by residents.
Right.
And some of that furniture that you see scattered, these benches, the picnic tables,
Yeah.
and this giant
Yes,
table
the
or
giant
chair,
yeah.
this is made of construction waste. This is
Right.
all construction waste from phase 1. Wood pallets and
Right, and the plant boxes and everything like that. Oh,
exactly,
great, that's
and the
brilliant.
planters. So this area is really at the entrance of the city, and as part of the master plan, this is the mixed-use area, which is open to the public. And so here we have 15,000 square meters of space, of rental space, and this is only for rent.
Right.
And the idea behind it is that this is going to generate rental revenue, and a portion of the rental revenue is going to pay all the service fees and the maintenance fees in the city. So we have promised all the residents in the community that they will pay 0 service fees and 0 maintenance fees.
Wow. Hang on a minute. Let me get my head around that.
So you move into the city,
Yeah.
whether you're a tenant or a homeowner, a villa owner.
So you can buy one of the
You can
villas
buy,
outright.
this is called freehold in
Right,
Dubai. So
right,
you can buy property or you can rent,
Yeah.
right? In both options, in both cases, you will not incur service fees or maintenance fees. It's 0.
Wow.
So when you look at concierge service or sweeping the streets or sweeping the panels, or we actually dry clean the panels, the solar panels, all the landscaping, the water features, the grey water treatment, the security outside, the mosque, etc. All of that is provided for free. I mean,
Right.
for free meaning it is offset by revenues that come from this plaza. And this is related to ensuring that there is also economic sustainability and social sustainability. It is not only about the energy features and the water features. The economic dimension also has to make sense.
And I mean, has the general sort of public response to what you've done here been?
Well, it's been tremendous. I mean, it's been tremendous. Some people there was a lot of skepticism, right? If we go back 4 or 5 years when the planning started, most people kind of just brushed us aside.
Right.
Even bankers, and I mean, there was little interest. We did draw attention, but I don't think many people believed in this concept and the design. That was post-financial crisis, global financial crisis. Things have really picked up, and now when you demonstrate what we've done so far in phase 1, I think it's becoming more and more obvious that this is doable.
Yeah.
And it is not more expensive, apples
Right,
to apples,
'cause that was-
oranges
that
to
was- I was
oranges.
gonna ask
So
that,
this is
yeah.
a myth, and when you design sustainably from the start, it's
Yeah.
not an afterthought.
No.
An afterthought is expensive, but when you plan it right from the beginning, and you also capture the latest technology or the latest features from the market, then it's not more expensive.
Right. Right.
And we've demonstrated that.
Right.
All the way down to social sustainability and economic sustainability. We've brought down, just to talk about carbon, on average in the world, each one of us, from UK to Dubai to Lebanon to Australia, we emit on average 7 metric tons of carbon dioxide per person per year. Here, we did our estimates because we're doing a greenhouse gas inventory of the city, and we are at approximately 3.1 metric tons per person per year.
Right.
That applies for residents living in the city,
Wow.
including commutes outside the city.
Wow.
So, but
And you're talking people who've got you know, a lot of people have quite substantially large vehicles in Dubai.
Unfortunately,
they're not all in super little eco.
So this is something we have our own targets as well to transform the mobility not only inside the city, because that's, you know, we've achieved that already with electric vehicles and buggies and bicycle tracks and jogging tracks, etc. So we've provided that, but more importantly, we want people to begin to switch to electric vehicles, and so we've done two things so far. We've provided charging stations. Second, and that's really unique, as a developer, we are actually providing an incentive, a subsidy to villa owners who wish to purchase an electric vehicle.
Right.
And who live in the city.
Wow.
So if you live in the city and you are a villa owner, you will receive up to 10,000 euros or 40,000 dirham towards your first EV purchase.
Wow.
So that's the incentive. So
yeah.
that's part of your sales contract, you know. So whether you make use of it or not, that's your choice.
This is amazing.
Yeah, so we have 11 of those.
Right.
And this is our, you know, attempt to grow food. We started with herbs. We now have we spent most of last year, 2016, experimenting with different herbs and different temperatures, and so we've now selected 40 herbs. What you see here in this biodome, we have leek, we have parsley, we have mint, we have basil, chicory, spinach coriander, cherry tomatoes, lettuce.
Because it's much cooler in here than outside, but then the fans are blowing air, sucking air outside.
Yeah, this is the beauty of having a low-tech solution. This is a desert technology.
Right.
This has existed for more than 40 years in farms all across the Arabian desert.
Right.
And the system is very simple. We actually we call it fans and pads.
Right.
Fan and pads. So we have 4 fans blowing air out. Then you have a negative pressure inside. So passively, air is going to flow in.
Through those.
It's going to flow in because you're blowing air out.
Yeah.
These are called pads. It's like cardboard, corrugated cardboard.
Right.
And then we wet them, we moist them all the time with treated grey water. So if you see them, you have these streaks of water.
You can just see some drips coming down.
Exactly. And if you stand in front of it, it's like an air conditioning system.
Wow.
So the temperature is going to drop from 45 to about 30.
But the other thing is, if you were doing this 10 years ago, you would be, you know, burning some form of fossil fuels in order to run the motors that drive the fans. But this electricity is all coming from solar.
So this is coming from the car parks that we saw.
Yeah.
That's what we call the solar farm. And these are just motors. It doesn't take a lot of power.
Very simple. It's very simple technology. Yeah.
Just motors.
Yeah.
So there's no air conditioning system.
Right. I think that's my argument really for the British property development sector, that I want to watch this, is pull your finger out, guys, because there's a huge amount of this technology could be used in the UK. It's not all
everywhere.
Sunshine.
I mean, every country has its
exactly
opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things you can do in the UK that we cannot do in Dubai, and vice versa. So, but it is about, you know, being future ready. That's what we say. We want to be future ready, meaning the climate is changing, things are getting more difficult.
Yeah.
And we all have this responsibility to bring down our footprint, and so we try to personalize the problems and the solutions here.
Yeah.
You know, by getting everybody involved.
And then presumably, like even in summer at night. Actually, well, it gets colder at night than you expect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you could have a meal up here in the early evening when it wasn't quite so.
Well, we can
hot.
use this space. You can use this space for about 8 months.
Right.
But then you have 4 months you don't want to be outdoors.
Right. It's just too hot. Yeah.
That would be mid-June through mid-September.
Right.
It's you know, upper mid-40s, lower to mid-40s, and then it's humid as well towards the end of the summer. But otherwise, you know, 8 months. And so if you notice, a feature we have here is that, you know, we tend to associate panels, solar panels, with this, you know, put it over the garage. I don't want to see it. It's unsightly. But we've actually incorporated it. It's part of the architecture.
Because when you look over there, you wouldn't think, oh, all those roofs are solar panels, because you're expecting to see something like that. But